guys, I'm Norb.
And I'm Mike.
And we are The Watchmen.
The men who watch.
Because if it's on a screen, we're watching it, talking about it, and sharing our ideas about it with you.
Today we are going to review a very little-known film from 2014 starring Ryan Reynolds called The Voices.
But before we get into it, I just want to thank all of you who are watching on our YouTube channel. Thank you for doing so. And if you feel like it, we'd appreciate it if you'd like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future videos. And for those of you listening on podcast, thanks for your support, and we hope you will continue to do so. Welcome to the show.
So before we get into it, Norb, I want to give a little credit where credit is due. I had suggested you and I see this movie. And the reason I was aware of it is I am an avid fan of Shane R. Monroe. He is someone I've followed for over 20 years. He used to do a podcast show called Retro Gaming Radio. He currently does one on Spreaker called Passenger Seat Radio, and Shane has become a good friend. We talk a lot on the forums, and I have thoroughly enjoyed him over the years. And Shane has said he has a huge man crush on Ryan Reynolds. And I'm right there with him. I love Ryan Reynolds. He is so funny in Deadpool, and I even liked him in Green Lantern. I mean, a lot of people didn't, but I liked him in Green Lantern. I am a Ryan Reynolds fan. And Shane, on one of his shows, said, hey, if you like Ryan Reynolds, you need to see The Voices. He said, it's really good, and it's something no one has ever seen or heard about. And I always put that in the back of my head. So when you and I were talking about what maybe we could do a review show on, I said, I've got the perfect show. And not only that, I know this just tickled your free bone, is that what's cool about The Voices is we're going to talk about it, but you can see this movie 100% free. Yep. It's on Tubi, which is tubitv.com. I thought I'd have to watch some commercials. And when I watched it, I didn't even have to watch any commercials. I didn't need an account. I just went to tubitv.com. I searched Ryan Reynolds, found The Voices, and I watched the whole movie, and I didn't have to pay a cent or even give him a username and password. I'm kind of shocked. Well, I know you signed up, but...
Well, my experience was different because I did watch it for free, but I had to watch about 5 commercials that popped in throughout the show. So I don't know how you got out of that one, but I don't know. You didn't sign up, and I did. Maybe that was the problem. They punished me for signing up and opening an account. But no, I had random commercials inserted at just weird spots in the show that would just stop. All of a sudden, the stream would stop, and it would go to this commercials that were really low in volume for some reason, and then back to the show. They were usually only about 30 seconds, so it wasn't bad.
I'd like to tell you that deep down inside, I'm a closet computer hacker, and I somehow know how to hack the system, but I don't. I just opened up a Chrome browser, and I went there, and I played it off my PC in my movie studio, and I watched the whole thing commercial free.
Well, it was still free. I just had to put up with a few commercials. But before we get into the review, I wanted to say, after you suggested that, I had not seen the movie nor heard of it. But I know that it was, the only thing I knew was that Ryan Reynolds was in it. And I think you kind of mentioned about Shane's suggestion, and you just said, if you like Ryan Reynolds, you'll see a lot of what Ryan Reynolds is all about in this movie. So I knew nothing about the story, didn't see a trailer. And what I expected going in was that he's obviously a funny guy. So I was going in expecting, it's going to be a lot of comedy with Ryan Reynolds in it. And that's all I had as I hit play on this Tubi TV service to watch this film.
The only other things I knew was that it was rated R, and I saw that it was a horror comedy. So I said, it's a horror comedy.
So you know more than I did. I didn't even see the word horror. I literally went into this completely only knowing the title. So
this is a story about Jerry Hickfang. He's that chipper guy clocking the 9 to 5 at the Milton Fixture and Faucet, a bathtub factory. He's got the offbeat charm of anyone who could use a few friends. With the help of his court-appointed psychiatrist, he pursues Fiona, his office crush. However, the relationship takes a sudden, murderous turn after she stands him up for a date. Guided by his evil talking cat, Mr. Whiskers, and benevolent talking dog, Bosco, Jerry must decide whether to keep striving for normalcy or indulge in a much more sinister path. This was directed by Marzan Satrapi, and now that I've seen it, and I'll get into what I thought in a minute, but learning a bit more about the history of this movie, this is one of those scripts that has ended up on what was called the Hollywood Blacklist. Norb, have you ever heard of the Hollywood Blacklist?
I know what a blacklist is, but I don't know necessarily what the script blacklist in Hollywood is.
Well, this is
that?
interesting. The Blacklist is a website where aspiring screenwriters can, for a fee, upload their screenplays. And then industry people who've also opted into the site can read and vote on them. The online voting system means the writer is able to track their script's progress as it either falls or climbs up the rankings. So this is a website for screenwriters to post their scripts, and some Hollywood people will read them. And this was a script from that blacklist that had been floating around for a while, and eventually it got made. So I thought that was just cool how it is one of those many scripts out there that just someone read and said, I like this, I want to make it into something.
I'm curious, Mike, before you watched it, did you even know as much as you described in that synopsis before you watched the film?
Nope.
Okay.
All I knew was the picture. It showed Ryan Reynolds in a pink kind of work outfit with a dog and a cat. So
my first thought looking at that, I saw the picture. My first thought is, is this some kind of Dr. Dolittle thing? that's all I thought going into this. That was what my brain was expecting. Boy, was I totally not ready for what was coming. But we'll get into it in a good or bad way in a second.
Well, so the film starts out with that Coen Brothers style of filmmaking. It's got a song and talking about the town of Milton. No spoilers here. But it was cut with a fun animation style the credits, and right away I'm thinking, I like this already. It's cool. This is my kind of thing.
Quirky.
It's got some clever animation and a quirky song. It did have that Coen Brothers feel.
Yeah.
And this movie is a little disturbing. So again, if keep that in mind, it's not one to watch with the kids, that's for sure. But the humor keeps the disturbing element of it in check. And eventually it takes over. I mean, it's definitely a dark, black horror comedy. But let's bounce back and forth, Norb. I don't want to just go through the whole thing. But getting into the movie, I was in. I liked it. I can get into some more details later, but the one thing I'm going to hammer home right off the bat is that, and I've said this on past shows, is usually a third act is where a movie falls apart. And this third act delivered in spades, and it had the most shocking ending I would never have seen coming that I thoroughly enjoyed. And that's all I can say, because I want you to see this movie, and it's free. And, Kurt, I know you're listening, and I bet you haven't seen this, and you need to go watch this movie tonight. Yeah. I think you're going to love it. So, Norb, continue.
It's hard to talk about this and not feel like I'm going to be spoiling it for people, because I feel like a lot of my enjoyment and shock of when things were happening was because I did go into this knowing nothing at all, not even the word horror in there. It's like even just hearing your synopsis and knowing that it is, my brain would have been differently prepared. So I already feel guilty that we've done this much to you. So we're not going to hide too much more left from it, because there's plenty of nice little surprises. But I think right off the bat, my first surprise was we're so used to seeing the very confident and very braggadocious and fun, cocky Ryan Reynolds. And right off the bat, he's like this meek, kind of unsure of himself.
I have a note.
Guy.
I have a note that it took me a minute to get the Deadpool Ryan Reynolds out of my head, because I was expecting the wisecracking guy, and I realized at first I thought, well, maybe he's not a very good actor yet. But I thought, wait a minute, no, he's playing a character who's just meek.
Yeah. So right away, you're seeing this different type of guy you're not used to seeing, and I enjoyed it because he does it really well. And again, not to give too much story plot away, but what I really did enjoy, now I see why Shane was saying, if you have a man crush on Ryan Reynolds, this movie's for you, is because he demonstrates how good of an actor he is without having to be the Deadpool character. He's a really good actor in this, and you feel his character, changes throughout the show, and there are times I was really uncomfortable watching this movie, and it took a lot for me to get uncomfortable, and I was very uncomfortable at times. Sometimes shocked because I didn't see something coming, or because you just didn't think something was going to go there. And then the more they reveal further this, what's happening in this, you're just that much more thrown off. But he does a brilliant job of staying in this character and making it off and creepy.
Norb, so I know you've alluded to the fact that you loved going into this not knowing a thing, but let me ask you, if you'd, even what we've talked about so far, if you'd have heard that, do you think you wouldn't have liked it?
Oh, I would have. I still would have enjoyed the film, and there's plenty more to be discovered. I think there was just, I would have been waiting for the turn. Because I was not, again, I was expecting Dr. Dolittle and Deadpool this whole movie. So when things, I mean, you described it already in your synopsis, a murderous turn. Well, there was no thought that there was even anything close to that in this. So I'm just kind of enjoying. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's going to be one of those, the shy guy, and we're just going to find him. Eventually he starts to, change things for his life. And boy, when the things start to plot twists happen, they hit you in the head like a sledgehammer. That's how I felt, because I didn't see any of those things coming because I came in so
told you it was a horror
clean.
comedy, though. Did you not?
Well, if you did say that, I didn't register it because I think I was just more thinking about the title, and I saw animals involved. So I immediately thought Dr. Dolittle. I really did not see the horror part. So I wasn't anticipating a horror anything in here, which was great. I loved it. I loved the fact that I was hit over the head with a sledgehammer, because so rarely now can you watch a film that you don't know anything about. So, and of course, the more I'm talking, the more you're knowing about this. So I'm taking all that edge away from you. But nonetheless,
it'll make you want to see it.
You got to see it. It is disturbing. It is not something everybody will enjoy, because it tests your gut a little bit. So you definitely have to have an appreciation for some dark, sick comedy. And there are times when you don't feel like laughing at all, and then there are times when you're cracking up. All within the same 30-second span. So they do a great job of keeping you off kilter that way, and that's why I enjoyed it. I was put in some places that I'm not usually made to feel comfortable. You know me, I kind of like sick stuff, but this movie definitely had me on edge. I won't even say the comparison because I'll give too much away. So I was going to compare it to a movie that I'd seen before, but I'm not going to even say that. So,
well, on the positives, with what you and I complain about so much about The Call of the Wild, look, they made this movie just a few years ago. They used real animals. And
yes,
could you imagine this movie with CG animals? Could you imagine this movie with CG, dog and cat? That would have made it awful.
Call of the Wild needed to watch this and go, hey, yo, tell the animation department to stop. We're just going to do what these guys are doing, and we will do much better, because they did a great job creating those characters, and they could have easily gone wrong, but they didn't. They went totally right with that, the way they used the animals in the show. So, there's not much to complain about in this movie. There were times
did it dawn on you that Ryan Reynolds voiced the dog and cat? I picked that up pretty quick. I was like, that's Ryan Reynolds voicing these guys. Did you know that?
Made that? Well, you know what? At a certain point, you see him talking to himself, and you hear him emulating it. And I think I was still trying to think maybe this is just him repeating what he's hearing. But actually, I actually didn't even look it up. I did not know that.
Yeah. I just figured it out. It was probably 15 minutes of the movie.
No, I didn't. I never did. Nope.
Yeah, I said to my wife, I think that's Ryan Reynolds. I can just hear his little inflections in the voices, because he has a certain voice style to him, and I was right. It was him.
So you looked it up, and that was the case. I'm curious. So I know Cynthia's not exactly the kind of into really disturbing, dark stuff. Did she like the movie?
I don't think she liked it as much as me, but she didn't hate it.
Okay. So I was going to say.
Yeah, no, it was, like I said, it's a horror comedy and it's a little disturbing. It's not for everybody, but I think it's for a lot of people. Like Kurt, this movie's for you. You will love this movie, and especially the fact that it was an independent film level made project that it debuted at the Sundance Film Festival, and Lionsgate Entertainment picked it up, and it had a theatrical release, and nobody saw it in the theater. But it's developed a slow following just on Tubi, I guess. This is a movie you can't even buy it on disc. It's not even available on disc. It's just available on Tubi. If they did a physical release, it's not on Amazon because I looked.
Really? Wow.
So what a underrated gem.
Yeah, it is
of a
for sure.
find. I mean, Ben Stiller. Did you know he was supposed to play Jerry?
I could have seen that. I could see that because Stiller's good at playing that sort of not sure, bumbling kind of things. I could see that working for him. Yeah. But yeah, this is Ryan Reynolds in rare form.
Even
really
Ryan Reynolds himself is quoted as saying that it's one of his favorite movies he's ever done. And he said it never really got its day in court. But man, it's weird and fun and beautiful. And he is so right. It never got its day in court. I don't think anyone's heard of this film. So,
yeah, I did not ring any bells at all when you mentioned it. I was like, what? The voices? Okay. But yeah, I'm glad you did, because that's a movie that I'm glad I saw. And I would have been missing out on this hidden little gem if not for Tubi and not for Shane's recommendation. So yeah.
So I have to ask you, did you watch it with the girls?
I know. No, this was just me, just myself. I'm thank God. That would not have been good. That would have been a little bit. That would have been a little rough. So yeah, no, just me.
Well, I know. Isn't it Sophie or Vanessa? She's into horror films, right?
She wants to watch more scary stuff, and she keeps asking me, "When can I watch your film, Daddy?" We're having that debate right now, and I'm trying to actually. We just watched The Sixth Sense a few days ago because I wanted to get them starting to learn about psychological horror and a little bit of sort of plot twists and things like that. So that when the day comes for them to watch my film, which if it's Jin's way, it's not going to be for at least another like 8 years. They'll be ready for it, and they'll kind of understand it all when it's done, as opposed to going, huh? What? I don't get it. So, yeah, but this one, yeah, it was the satisfying ending.
Yeah, do you agree with me on when I say it was shockingly satisfying? I mean, it was a third act that paid off. And in ways you never would have seen coming. And I'm going to be very careful here because I do not want to spoil the real surprise, which I loved.
Now, are you talking about the ending?
Both.
When things are okay.
Both. I mean, really, the ending segued into the ending. It was all connected, and it was so not expected and out of left field.
Yeah, okay,
and
I know
yet
what you're talking
I was
about
watching it going, this is great.
Well,
what a way to wrap up this quirky story.
It's very topical for the week, I must say.
I know.
I was leave it at that, but yeah, I was watching it laughing, going, "This is so absurd." I know. And yet it works so well.
Yet it's so entertaining.
It's so entertaining. It was fun. It's so not what it has been the whole time. But yeah, no, it was. All acts were solid. The first act was just like, wow, this is not what I'm used to seeing Ryan Reynolds. Second act was like, whoa, I guess that sledgehammer. I mean, that Act 2 transition literally hits you in the face. And then by the third act, it's like, okay, well, how is this all gonna end? And they do a good job of kind of coming up with an ending that makes
I gotta ask
sense.
you a question though, and I'm gonna be careful about my spoiler stuff, but I was thinking about you a lot during this part, but there's a part where he's at a restaurant waiting to meet someone, and it's an Asian restaurant, and they've got an Asian guy doing Elvis, and then he does a little bit of something else, which I won't say but I was thinking about you, because whenever things like this happen, you being my best friend who's Asian, I'm always thinking, is this okay? Is this not...
Am I being offended?
Yes, is Norb offended by this? So my question is, did that offend you?
Nope.
Yay!
No, it was great. It was great. I was laughing too. It was fun.
Okay, good. And it's okay to laugh.
And I think the reason why is because I know where you're going with it, but there wasn't any kind of a stereotyping happening there. It's just crazy. It's just like, what the heck? But it doesn't put anybody in a bad light. Okay. So that's why I think it's sort of just a quirky scene, but I could see no reason why anybody would be offended by that, particularly someone of Asian descent. So, no, totally fine with me. Went right by my meter. I wasn't upset at all.
That's good. That was probably the only time during the movie I was thinking, well, this is funny, but
If anything, it reminded me of some of my past gigs where there's only like 5 people in the place and you got to sing your heart out and still put on a show even though there's nobody watching. It's like, oh, I remember places like this. Yeah. So that was, that was funny. That was another one of those wacky sort of, this is just a crazy scene we're watching
those
right
pink
here.
Outfits, and you see the pink outfit in the poster, but those outfits were so pink and just, I think, who would ever have to wear I think it was overblown for just the look of the film, but funny. But right. Could you imagine having to wear a pink outfit like that every day on your job?
Yeah, well, yeah, especially for the type of job that it was. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, building bathtubs and faucet fixtures.
And hardware fixtures. And where does pink come into that? But what I liked also about it, without getting too revealing, is there's a point where you're really rooting for things to go well for him. You are. Because you like him. And you feel like it's going to happen. It feels like Titanic right before the iceberg hits.
There's a moment where you feel like it's going better.
Yeah. Because just like in the movie Titanic, you know where things are going to go bad, but at a certain point, you just get caught up in this sort of personal story, and it feels like, oh, this is going to be good, and then you realize, oh, no, it's not. And it's sad. It's tragic because like, oh, man, I really liked this direction. I like these guys right here. This is a good thing here. And then all of a sudden, wham.
I think the way I half sold my wife on watching with me is I said, Anna Kendrick's in it. Because Anna Kendrick is well liked by a lot of females out there because of all her, musicals she's been in. And I think she's got a big female fan following. And I like her too. I think she's a good singer. She's cute. But I liked seeing her in this movie, and I don't think many people know Anna Kendrick is in this movie.
I saw her, and I was like, oh my gosh, Anna Kendrick's in this. I was surprised too. Yep. But yeah, this is a movie that I'm pretty sure I know my wife, and I know this would not be her cup of tea. At least I'm thinking that. I don't think so. I don't think she would have enjoyed this.
Well, I think it's Kurt's cup of tea.
Oh, Kurt, definitely Kurt will dig it. I love the fact that our show is so small as far as viewer and listenership that we can actually single out one person at a time and say, hey, I know you're listening.
We're acknowledging
maybe someday there'll be like, someday years from now, there'll be like thousands of people watching. Wow, such and such got a shout out personally. But at this point, if you're listening to this right now, it's like you can count the listeners on practically, 2 hands maybe.
And no last names were harmed in the making of this show.
You're trying to anyway. But
is there anything, Norby, you'd want to say about just the filmmaking style of the film? Anything about the way it was shot or edited or anything? Anything you thought?
I thought the cinematography was really good. There was just, it was just there was kind of unique uses of color. There were some scenes where they contrast a lot of, even just in Ryan Reynolds' own place. They really create that sense of where what you are seeing and perceiving in the world in terms of perspective is so well done in terms of how the cinematographer creates, what you're supposed to see, what you're supposed to. I'm trying to say this without giving away, Mike. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but the world as we see it, and the world as often perceived by others, often changes in the view, and sometimes it's a stark contrast. And they did a really good job of creating what that world would look like, from one extreme to the other. And you'll know what I mean when you see it. But it's pretty bleak at times and very beautiful at times. So yeah, I just love the style. And the director, I don't know anything else that the director's done. I haven't even bothered to look up what else. Is it a he or a she?
I think it's a she.
It's a she. I don't even know what else she's done. I need to look it up because she did brilliant work on this. And it was, like I said, made me uncomfortable, on edge, and go through a lot of different emotions of places during the whole film. And if it can do that with me, then you've got a winner right there. So I got to find out what other films she's done, because this one was, I don't know how, I never heard about it.
And it's not that old.
Yeah, like 5 years? 5 years old? Something like that.
So think of how much Ryan Reynolds has done in 5 years. He's gone a long way.
I know. He's had plenty of big name movies with his name on it, yet this one just never hit the light of day, at least not from where we got exposed to it. So glad we did, because it's definitely worth a watch, you guys.
It's just the perfect match made. It's a good movie and it's free. You don't have to even pay for it. Just go to tubitv.com and watch it.
And I'm glad. The other benefit to this is discovering Tubi TV. I didn't know about that. And now, we're on the search for movies. We're always looking between our usual Netflixes, Prime Video. I check on what I got on the cable side. And then there's Hulu. And now we've got Tubi TV to look at. There's so many choices, but sometimes it's hard to find what you're looking for. But this one's got some pretty good hidden gems. So thank you, Tubi TV.
For the surprise, I racked my brain over this one because, I mean, most of the times I try to share a collectible or something that's related to the movie. And I've come up with something, but actually this is a chance, Norb, for you to talk a little bit more than me about the surprise. So I'm just doing the setup. And it's really, I decided to focus on Ryan Reynolds because we're all Ryan Reynolds fans. Man crush. He's just a great actor. I always like seeing him in everything. And the next Ryan Reynolds movie coming out is called Free Guy. And we've seen the trailers.
Oh, yes.
And it looks great. He's a guy who is living in a video game Grand Theft Auto style world where he's a NPC. And in the video game world, NPC stands for non-playable character. He's just an NPC in this video game that does his part when real players come through and do stuff. You can see it. It's all in the trailer. So that looks like a great movie. It looks totally fit for him. It's been delayed because of the quarantine situation, but eventually it'll come out and we'll get to see it. So I have a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 from the Xbox 360 Collector's Edition when it came out. I played this quite a bit, and then when I moved on, Norb came into the scene and he took that game and made it his own. So Norb, I'm just going to let you tell our listeners what you think of GTA 5 and feel free to take some time and just gush your love of this game.
Wow, I never thought I'd be transitioning to this, but I'd be happy to. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, I'd heard about the game, but I wasn't much into gaming in general, so I wasn't familiar with it. I think the first time I actually saw something from it was we were on one of our guys' trips, and Dino brought a copy and he played a little bit, and I watched it, and he showed some of the highlights, like going to a strip club and doing all that, but I still didn't get into it. I was still kind of like, okay, whatever, that looks interesting, but it didn't bite me then. But then what the turning point was is when we talked about doing a norb-cam Rivals video using the director mode of Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's something I had discovered.
Which you discovered and said, hey, we could maybe do something with this. So I was like, okay, well, I need to get to know what this game's about. Otherwise, I can't relate to how to use it if I don't play it. So I got a copy on Xbox and I just jumped in and started, with the intent to learn about the game. But in the process of doing so, I got very hooked. I got extremely hooked. And this is already probably 2 years after the game came out. So it wasn't even hot off the press anymore. You guys were already good at it. I wasn't even good enough to play the parts. You guys did all the controls because you'd already been doing it for a while. So we did our video and, we released it.
And we should put a link to that we'll have a link to that in the description.
Yeah,
that's on YouTube.
Yes. So it's me playing both roles, but Mike's got a cameo in there. But also Byron was a big part of being able to enact some of those scenes.
Stunt driver.
And stunt driving in the GTA world. Anyway, so I think this has become my favorite game of all time in the sense that I know there are better games. There are games that probably have more things to it, but this game I just love. It's the first game I really got into as a sandbox game where you can just do whatever you want. You don't have to follow a mission. You don't have to do what you're told to do. And I know there's other games like that, but I think it's the fact that it's a combination of sandbox, meaning you can go anywhere you want with whatever attitude. You can do a mission if you want, or you can just get in a bus and drive over people and just do that. And for me, for a guy who doesn't always have a lot of time to play hours and hours of video games, if I just want a 30-minute fix of just running people over, or I'm going to just shoot up a bunch of police officers, or I'm just going to drive around and try to see how many cars I can crash and steal, you can just do all that. And I think just that combination of that, combined with the fact there's a racing element with cars, there's guns, so you get my gun fix, and then you can also steal planes and flying vehicles, so you get a little flying action in there too. It's just the perfect level for me of violence, action, and freedom to just, move at whatever speed you want. Whether
it's
it be
really
by
your
foot
own
or
horror
speed.
comedy.
It is. And there are times when I just will laugh out loud at what happens, either by the way I crash or how I ran over somebody with a bus. And I actually started posting started posting some reaction videos to some of my gameplay on my norb-cam channel, which has been fun, using my alter ego character. Chrysostamo, what's up? Anyway, so yeah, GTA has suddenly become the game of choice for me that I think it's just so easy to drop back into and just pick up and play if I just need a quick fix, or if I might play for an hour or two. The time goes by so fast. But I know a lot of people, don't approve of that game because there are some, there's obviously a lot of profanity in it. So younger kids aren't allowed to play because of that. And there's the whole criminal element and strip clubs and things like that. But even if you don't, just go past all that. I've let the girls drive around in it, just drive the cars. I'll keep them out of the strip club, but I'll let them drive around.
Now you can drive around, girls, but no running over people.
No, they'll run over people and all that. They just can't go in the strip club. Okay. So yeah, they can murder people by the bunch in vehicles. Just you can't do that strip club thing. But yeah, so in the beginning when they were younger, when we first started playing and I was sensitive about the profanity, I would just let them play but turn the volume down so they can just enjoy driving around. I just wanted them to enjoy driving around the world and just sort of doing things. But then now that doesn't matter. They've heard it all, so now we'll crank it up and they're okay with that. So yeah, so even my kids enjoy playing that game. But yeah, it's so much fun. I know someday they're going to come out with a Grand Theft Auto 6. They've been talking about it. And I will be the first in line to get that copy. It'll probably be the first time in a long time that I'll want to be the first one to get it when it's hot off the press.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is history, future history in the making right there, that Norb wants a game on day one.
There were a lot of games I got into, even back in the early PC games.
This is the guy that tries to find things for free beyond me. I mean, I like a good deal too, but the fact that Norb is saying, I will pay full price, no discount, I will get it day one. That is something.
So that's my love of the game. Now, tying back to the movie you brought up with Ryan Reynolds, what's it called again?
Free Guy. It's a GTA movie.
It's totally
with
a GTA
Ryan Reynolds.
Movie. Yeah, so that's why I saw it instantly. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. My only concern is, again, what I talked about in the beginning of the show is I've seen the trailer and I feel like I've seen too many highlights. I know the twists, and now I feel like, okay, I'm going to watch this looking for all these scenes, and now it's like, what's left? What else can you bring to me that I haven't already seen? And I'm afraid they're going to disappoint me.
Well, it's going to come down to the Act 3, which I'm sure we haven't seen Act 3. So it'll be a question of, does Act 3 deliver? And that is yet to be
known.
So
I'm nervous for them. I'm nervous that they're going to not deliver because they showed too much in Acts 1 and 2. So I hope I'm wrong. Sometimes they can surprise us, but nowadays there's so much preview-itis that happens where you watch too much and ruin a film, because it would have been good if you could have been like me watching this movie with no idea what it was about and just be told, watch this, and then just be shocked, as opposed to going, I'm looking for this scene now, and where's that one scene where he comes on the motorcycle? Oh, there's that scene. I hate it, yet we see it all the time. So
I guess I will try to be positive and say if Ryan Reynolds agreed to do this movie, it must have had a really good script and he liked it, because Ryan Reynolds is at the level where he can pick and choose what he wants to do.
And he's good in pretty much everything. I like Hitman's Bodyguard, and that movie I think was kind of a flop.
Yeah, we both liked it.
We both liked it. I thought it was great. So, there isn't much that he's done that I didn't like. Even his romantic comedy stuff from like late 2000s, I've always liked him. So, we'll see what happens. But another good movie to look forward to once we get past once the theaters reopen again. Hopefully in the not too distant future. All right. Well, thanks for watching. And again, those of you who are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And for all of you listening on podcast, we appreciate you. And, send us a message. Let us know in the comments or in a message. Tell us what you think of our show, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like us to cover in terms of movies, shows, games, whatever's on your mind. We'd love to hear from you guys out there. So that's it. I'm Norb.
And I'm Mike.
And we are The Watchmen.
Thanks for watching. Sing a happy song, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching The Watchmen.
Please click on here to watch other episodes, and be sure to hit that like button too.
And please subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you'll always be alerted to any future episodes.
It really helps us out, and we appreciate it.
We'll see you next time. And remember, we'll be watching.